Hello guys, welcome to Careers Gyan, an exclusive YouTube channel for career guidance. For today's podcast, we have Mr. Naresh Reddy, our esteemed chief guest, director and CEO of Gyanville Academy. So this is a podcast on JoSAA Counselling of 2025. So it has started on June 3rd, and many teenagers and along with their parents, they have many doubts and concerns about this counseling. So we have taken some of your common concerns, and sir, we would love to have your take on these concerns.
Definitely. I
Shall-
look forward to handling questions on JoSAA and CSAB.
Okay, shall we start?
Absolutely.
Sir, is it better to choose a top NIT with a core branch or a lower IIT with a non-core branch?
I think the way the question is asked, I'm assuming it is very much like a student wanting to know if they have a branch preference versus the college ranking. That's what I can understand. Because when you say core, non-core,
Yeah.
it also could mean CSC and non-CSC or something like that, right?
Yes.
I want to tell students that whenever you're choosing branch versus college, right, it makes a lot more sense for those students who have very clear passion and interest towards a particular branch because of their work that they have done already.
Okay.
Something like they've learned coding, they are interested in a specific thing for a particular reason, and they're only looking for that branch. It makes sense for them to focus on that particular branch. Otherwise, I would say whenever you're not very sure about which branch to take, I would say always focus more on the ranking of the NIT, ranking of the college than the branch. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of times students make this classical mistake of saying, hey, I want to get into only a CSC branch. And they might choose an NIT or one of the triple ITs or any GFTIs, which are in that, the ranking of that NIT is so low, it's not good enough. And they go and choose that as opposed to kind of taking a, say, non-CS branch in one of the top colleges. It makes sense for them to kind of choose a branch like metallurgy or civil or chemical in one of the top colleges if they are looking more for a longer term career growth than a specific area of domain, the area domain that they want to get into. That's what the answer would be.
Okay, moving on. Can a wrong choice order ruin your entire JoSAA counseling result?
Absolutely, because every year I think people have this feeling, they kind of make choices, and I've seen students who kind of without consulting some elders, or they make mistake in the choices. Assume within the choices they choose, they kind of make a choice which is their priority, but it is actually put in a lower preference as opposed to something which is not their priority is put in a higher distinct.
Okay.
And as per the algorithm, you will be allocated your top priority as much as possible. So the moment you are allocated a particular branch and college combination, which is a higher priority in your JoSAA priority list, even though you later want to go down, you cannot go down because please understand there's only options which to slide and float, you can't go down. That's why JoSAA wrong order can make or break a student's life. So they should be very, very careful about it.
That's a point to be noted, guys. Okay. So, what are the most common mistakes students make during JoSAA counseling?
I think we just discussed one of them. I think three top mistakes I always like to talk about it. The first thing is students trying to be very inflexible and trying to kind of take very few options.
Okay.
JoSAA counseling is something that if you're invited for it because you're qualified, etc., you are definitely among the currently you have that privilege to get there. So use this properly. Many students make a huge mistake of having too less number of options. They're too inflexible with their branch or college choice that they choose extremely few choices.
Okay.
Because of which they don't actually get any seat allocated. And then they kind of say they did not get a rank good enough, etc. That's one mistake that I see people making regularly. Second mistake they make is they're not smart about how to use the freeze, float, and slide options smartly. They make the mistake with respect to using those options.
Okay.
And the last one that I generally see is that students make a lot of times is that while they have, like I just told you, this is the mistake that we spoke about in the beginning also. They kind of have too many dream options but not so many safe options. As what we mean is they kind of make like choices, but all the choices that they make, say for example, are only the top branch in all the colleges. They would not get any of those safe choices. So these are the three mistakes that people keep making with respect to JoSAA counseling. Year after year I see that.
Okay, so they need to make more choices,
More
not just
choices.
restrict
Absolutely,
themselves
absolutely,
to
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Sir, if I'm a student and if I don't get the seat I want in round one, what should I do? Should I freeze or float or slide?
I think as if in within JoSAA, one of the earlier rounds, if generally students get allocated a seat, I generally suggest students very rarely should they freeze.
Okay.
Freeze automatically means you are happy with both the college and the branch.
Okay.
Very rarely that happens with students, except if you've got a very good rank and you've done that good. But otherwise, they can always apply. If they're not very sure of it, they're not getting a satisfactory seat, they can always apply the other two options, beautiful options called float and slide.
Okay.
What it means is, for float is basically an option where you can change the college as well as the branch. Float basically means you can go to any of the higher priority within your priority list of a different college, of a different branch also, that you can apply if you are very clear that you want to try.
Okay.
Say in case you got allocated in your earlier list, you got to a college that you're happy, but you're not sure with the branch.
Okay.
So within that college you want to go up to a different branch, then apply slide. Slide means you can move to a different branch but within the same institution.
Okay.
So slide is an option that you want to apply if you're sure that you want to stay within that institution. Float is an option you would want to apply if you are ready to move across institutions, across branches.
Okay. Yeah. Next question. Is college more important or the branch for future career growth?
I think this is a question I keep getting asked again and again by many different, every field. By the way, this is not only about engineering. People talk about this in every other career domain also. I want people to understand that, particularly with, the answer probably what I used to give is always that until and unless you are extremely clear about what you want to do in your life, it's always, for me, the institution matters more than the branch. Both are important.
Okay.
Branch is important, institution is important.
Okay.
But if you ask me, for someone at that age, if you're not very clear about what you want to achieve in your life so very crisply, sharply, I would always say institute is more important than the branch.
Okay.
Now, in fact, after the way AI is going and the way things are happening in the last year or so, I think my answer has become a lot more stronger. Why I say that, let me tell you. Because the world is, with the advent of new technologies like AI, the world is trying to become more and more a generalist than a specialist. So because what happens is people want problem solvers, people probably going forward coding and everything. Well, actually we are talking about vibe coding, and today only I've heard of the word called vibe hacking.
Okay.
So people are hacking. Earlier, hacking used to be a game of someone who's really adept at something.
Yeah.
With AI, the threshold for coding, the threshold for hacking also has come down. People are hacking with the vibe. They're using AI to hack things also.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, with all this happening, it makes a lot more sense for you to kind of go and pick up as much as possible generalist courses than specialist courses. You will see in the future generalist courses will be of some importance. The way world has gone through a cycle of super specialization and stuff, I think next decade you will see a shift more towards generalized courses. We're already talking about courses which are having cross mix of, we're talking about learning interdisciplinary courses and a lot of these things. I think it makes a lot more sense, I would say, as much as possible, focus more on getting a great institution than a specific branch. Specific branch makes sense if you are very clear about that. And the irony is, today when anyone asks me a question about branch versus college, their usual branch preference is, I want to go to a CS branch. Why? Because they believe job options are more with CS. It's not that they are this thing. If a student says, I want to only be in biotechnology because I want to kind of go develop a particular kind of biotech this thing, I want to make a patent, something, that still makes sense. The irony is, we don't see that. We don't see a student who want to go into civil engineering. We don't want to see people who only going into metallurgy, etc. But people always, when they say branch, they're saying branch preference is CS. 99% of the time when a student says branch preference is CS, I know they're basically talking about career options and job. That inadvertently should mean you should try to get to a better institution than branch.
Yeah.
That's what my answer is.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Do students regret choosing IITs just for the brand name?
I think this is a question as someone who has been to NITs, IIMs, you asked me. I think yes, I do agree that few students, while it is very minority, there's some people who like, you will regret something because you did not make the best out of it. Whether it's IIT, NIT, IIM, anything like that, I think. But majority of the students who make it to these top institutions, usually like they come out strong because they have, because the networking, the kind of ecosystem, etc., is strong, that they're able to do things. So very few actually regret going into an IIT or places like that.
Okay.
And that happens again, I believe, it's not so much with the IIT per se, because they go there and for example, you go to an IIT or an IT and top school and assume you're not really enjoying the tech part, but you can do a lot of other things too. If you know how to make use of what is given to you at one of these top institutions, you will never ever regret. But otherwise, yes, I see a few students regret that, but majority of them, I have never seen someone regret it.
That's a good hope, I guess. for
Yes,
students.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's why people still, after all this, we sit in such podcast interviews and we talk about all that. We talk about new careers. Even today, there are 15 lakh people trying to get into engineering every year. Right? There are 20 lakh people trying to get into NEET medicine every year. That should tell you that there are a lot of people that trying to do that. So it is very easy for us to brush off and say this is not important, that's not important. That's not very true. The idea is whether it is people talking about marks in life or going to top schools in life, as much as possible you'll try to make it to top schools, not because that itself is the end of it, but it will become a great means that will open doors to bigger things for you.
It will definitely show you very great opportunities.
Absolutely. It's not like if you don't make it, it's done. But if you make it, you can use it to go to the next level. That's what it means.
It becomes easy.
Absolutely. It becomes, I don't like the word easy, Praharsha, because a lot of times I like the word, it will become a ramp for bigger things. And so you can do bigger things than easier things. It's not about easy. It actually, Praharsha, to be honest, if someone wants easy, I keep telling this joke to students. Never ever, particularly teenagers, I keep saying, never believe your parents or teachers who say, work this year, life will be easy, work 2 years, life will be easy, etc. Because life is not going to become easier as you go up. As you go, say, for example, you go to a Ivy League or a top class institution, your life is going to become more difficult in the sense more tedious, more things to do. Absolutely. But what it will happen is it'll become more fun, it'll be more exciting, you can learn more things, you can impact more. So if you want easy, I think you have very low expectations in life and stay where you are, easy. But you want to grow up, it'll always be tougher. But tougher does not mean difficult in the sense you cannot do it, but tougher means you want to put more. That's what it is.
Okay, sir. Yeah. So let's go for some clarifications. Can I get into an IIT just with JEE Main rank?
IITs, no. See, while JoSAA is a common counseling body for IITs, NITs, IIITs, and other government-funded technical institutions, 4 of them, IITs require you to have a JEE Advanced rank too. IITs only fill their seats with JEE Advanced rank.
Okay.
While JEE Mains rank will help you in the other 3 areas, NITs, IIITs, and GFTIs.
Okay. Does getting a seat in mock allotment guarantee the same in final rounds?
That's an interesting thing. I think people keep doing this, right? Many students, please understand, mock round is only to kind of give you a simulation of how the allocation will happen.
Okay.
Many a times what will happen is many students who are lazy, who did not fill their choices before the mock round, they'll again, because there's a deadline after the mock also. So what happens is more students fill in their choices after the deadline, and hence your mock allocated seat might or might not be the same in the final round.
Okay.
So you should, sometimes it can. That's why I would say don't assume that whatever seat you got in mock round, that will be the seat in the final round. That's not true. That's not going to happen.
Okay. Sir, is it true that female candidates have a better chance through JoSAA?
Absolutely. I think that's not just engineering but everywhere. But I would say in JoSAA what happens is we have many different ways the seats are sliced and diced, right? At IITs and IITs we have the regular categorization: general, OBC, SC, ST, physically handicapped. That's one quota that we have. The second type of slicing and dicing of seats is home state and other state. Home state is basically domicile, the student from that state. That is one more. Other dicing we have is gender neutral, as in both boys and girls can compete. But there's one set of seats allocated only to female only. Okay. So like that, we have definitely girls have an edge over boys when it comes to some extra seats. They can both compete for gender neutral seats, but for female only there's an advantage. Yes.
Okay. Sir, are all IITs better than NITs or IIITs? Is it true?
No, I think this is too much of a simplification, but people have. I think it's true. This question, whatever answer I gave, is true even for other fields of study also. Not IIT, all IITs are better than all NITs, or all NITs are better than triple ITs, and vice versa and stuff. There's some
Okay.
private institution which can be better than.
Okay.
So what happens is if it is so, we don't need NIRF, National Institute of Ranking Framework, or things like that, other ranking. I think while predominantly IITs are more sought after college than NITs, and NITs more than triple ITs, that is very true. It is not true that all the IITs are above NITs. No way. In fact, it is seen that the top 10 schools in the country, engineering schools, there'll be 6 of them will be IITs, 3 of them will be NITs.
Okay.
The other one could be a bit Spilani or something like that. I'm giving a general tendency. Things can keep changing up and down, but generally that is there. So in that context, I would say in fact, even by the closing rank of some of the colleges, you can understand what is more preferred and stuff. So I would say the students who prefer going to a top NIT as opposed to going to a low rank IITs. So that's not true.
So they are not watertight compartments.
No, not at all. Yeah.
That's
And the same thing with
interesting.
NITs also. Not only IITs are the 22 IITs out there, but the 30 plus 31 NITs and those things. Even there, it's the same. Right? You want to go to all the NITs are not same as there's some other colleges which are better than NITs too.
Yeah, because as soon as you hear IIT, we just naturally assume that it's definitely better than an IIT.
Yeah, that's a fallacy. That is one issue that parents and students who are not so well informed, they have that thing. But do understand, within the circles, people do not really kind of think of it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting to learn, sir, actually. Yeah. So let's talk about some strategy. How to make the perfect JoSAA choice filling strategy?
I think the first thing that I would kind of tell is we'll talk about two things: quantity and quality.
Okay.
A perfect JoSAA strategy for any student is try to kind of quantities. I would say don't have less than 50 to 100 options. Now with IITs, so many seats available out there. Trust me, with so many thousand plus options out there, I think if any student says I'll only have choices which are 10, 20, 15 number, that is making a mockery of the counseling. At the end of the day, you might take the seat that's offered to you or not is your choice.
Okay.
But I would say if you're participating in JoSAA, participate with all the rigor, vigor, dedication and stuff. So what I suggest is quantity. So have at least 50 to 100 options first that you can choices of combinations of institutions and branches. 50 to 100 options should be there for you. That's the first thing that they have to do. Second thing, coming to the quality I mean by mix. Please don't. Students have this mistake of just because they're participating in JoSAA, no one is obligated to give you a seat, right? So rather, we always say, right, we talk about 3 layers of the things. Hey, institution that you dream of or branches that you dream of, you want to get there, but you might have a difficult chance there. That's one level. And the second thing is, for your rank, there's a 50 good chance you will get. There's a 50-50 chance, and there's some options you might have as a backup options which you're sure to get for your rank. So you have to, all these 100 options that we discuss you have to make it into all the 3 together. It can't be, hey, I put 50 options. Some students are there because we ask them, we kind of tell them as a teacher, have at least good number of options. They might choose 50, but the problem is they chose 50 of same branch across the thing, they might not kick it. The idea is choose 50 to 100 options, quantity, and disperse them across these 3 levels, right? One is the dream tier, ambitional tier. The second is something that you have a chance to get in, you'll be happy. And the third one, which are assured. That's 3 tiers they need to do. Yeah. That's what would be ideal strategy for JoSAA.
Okay. What should students with 10,000 to 50,000 rank do to get the best possible college?
And I think a lot of times people with a particular rank, in this case you spoke about 10 to 50,000. I think most of the time, like I just said, it's about number of options, keeping your options open. If they are flexible around the branch, they can get a great institution. Or if they're very specific about the institution, they have to be flexible about branch.
Okay.
If you try to be, I want this branch and this college, 10 to 50,000 is not going to make the cut.
Rigidity
won't work. That's what I would try to tell those who are in that particular rank range. And I don't know, they can look at CSAB if there's something that we'll discuss about CSAB. But CSAB is another great option for people who have rank like that. But they might not, if you do not get allocated in JoSAA, you can try CSAB.
Okay. What is the best approach if I'm stuck between 2 branches?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to kind of approach a dicey situation between two branches is, I again have a simple thumb rule. My thumb rule is it something that I'm doing because which gives me more options, or more job options, more career settlement, etc., or is it something that I'm very, very specific that I want to be in this field? If the things are clear, if it is about options, try to take a branch which is as broad as possible. What I mean by that is the exit point from that is clear, right? Today we have, at my last count when we discuss, I think we have 25 to 30 detailed sub branches in engineering. When I did my BTech, I think we had 6 or 7 in detail. Today, the core branches themselves, that you have a lot of, for example, within CS, you have 10 sub branches. Even mechanical has 3-4 sub branches like that, right? So what I'm saying is, between 2 branches, whenever you're stuck, try to go for the broad, the core, the main branch. If you're not sure of what you want to do and you want the general career settlement, because that way you have better chance at tomorrow trying to go for a master's or trying to apply and stuff. If you're very clear about what you want to, for example, I'm very clear, I want to be a data scientist, I want to be an AI, this thing, maybe doing a branch like AI will be good. But if you're not sure about that, plain vanilla computer science is better than this. That's what my answer would be.
Okay. Until you're very, very sure, crystal clear, you can go for the branch.
Broader branch, yes. The branch, yes.
Yeah. Should I participate in CSAB even after JoSAA? If so, when and why?
I think this is the one I was just trying to tell earlier. For those who have a reasonable rank but not a great rank, they have a 10,000 to 50,000 rank, which is not a great rank, that they'll get allocated their satisfactory seat in the first few rounds. How can they make better out of it? I think you will be surprised to know that among all those who are qualified JEE, 20-30% of people would not know JoSAA. Okay, they do not apply also sometimes. And among those who apply JoSAA, minority, less than 20-30% actually know CSAB.
Okay.
CSAB is an option that they have, they don't even know that, right? CSAB is basically, this is basically about, just like JoSAA is a counseling process that's happening for IITs, NITs, IIITs and GFTIs, all of them together. After the JoSAA is done, after the rounds of JoSAA are done, CSAB comes in picture, which is basically only for NITs, IIITs and GFTs. That is, IITs are not part of CSAB.
Okay.
Now this is like a next continuing round of JoSAA. And in Praharsha, I think you are someone who do other, every exam, every career field domain has their own way of talking about this. In MSET they call it spot rounds, or in NLUs they call it vacant seats. Various different things. The idea is CSAB round is basically to help students kind of take up those seats which were probably not filled in the JoSAA rounds and stuff like that.
Okay.
So any student who has an option, see, you got a particular, you got a good institution but did not get a branch you want. CSAB is a great option to go. You have a great chance that you can slide up in CSAB. You can get a better option in CSAB. And similarly, you have a branch in a lower college but you might want to get the same branch in a mid-tier NIT or a top-tier NIT. That can also in CSAB. So CSAB is basically a good option for those who have a reasonable rank, decent rank, but not a great rank. So after the JoSAA is done, it usually starts the moment JoSAA is completed. A week from then, CSAB format starts. CSAB process also is very similar. They have to again apply, they have to do that. They have to see within JoSAA, once you put your priority list and stuff, after that you cannot change for all the rounds. Whereas in CSAB, once your JoSAA is done, you are asked to apply for CSAB again. That means you can put in a new priority order, new preference order in CSAB. That's a very different counseling. Generally, what I suggest is CSAB has to be applied. See, here we said quantity and quality, right? In JoSAA, we said, hey, have a quantity and quality. In CSAB, it's ulta. What I'm saying is reduce the quantity and reduce the quality. Why? Because you do not want to get allocated a seat. Unlike JoSAA being the first one, you want some seat at least, right? When you go to CSAB, you only want to apply for those seats which are better than your current standing. Assume you got a seat in JoSAA. Hey, some student got a civil engineering or metallurgical engineering in some one of the top tier NITs. I want to go to CS, EC, etc. in the same NIT. So don't apply for anything else but those things, right? CSAB is like that. Because if you get a seat allocated in CSAB, your JoSAA seat will get renunciated, right? So better to kind of apply for specific options in CSAB. I think that's what I would say as the answer for that.
So it's basically like a second chance.
Second option, yes. It's like, spot round, vacant seats and stuff like that. The lot of students who work hard for these 2 years, they do not get a great rank, and parents also do not know about this. Teachers also focus on the first few ranks and students and stuff. But many of them, if they only focus on this process tightly, um, come to platforms like Careers Gyan, because even in the entire world, internet also, all the big portals also, everyone is focusing so much on JoSAA. CSAB is something that we need to focus on. You can try to get more information, you can apply and you can get to your dream thing. It might take a month later, but it is an option.
Yeah. So it's smart to make an informed choice.
Absolutely, always.
So what to do if I miss the seat acceptance deadline? Can I recover my seat?
I think this is the worst kind of question I can ever answer, in the sense that I think we keep talking about, we make a joke of millennials, Gen Zs and stuff like that. But do understand, it's not your school, it's not your college, it's not your parents and stuff. This is a national thing, and if you miss a deadline, you miss a deadline. You cannot recover. So whether it is filling choices or seat acceptance, etc., you cannot really have much. If you filled, for example, the only option, for a lot of students who miss a deadline in JoSAA, the only option you have is you can try do CSAB. That also in NITs, IIITs and GFTI. So you cannot go back to IITs and stuff like that. But not within JoSAA again. That's not possible.
Once you miss it, you miss it.
That's it. You have to wait for the next bus.
So what is the 75% eligibility rule, and does it apply to all?
Yes, actually it is applicable to everyone. Basically 75% marks in their 12th board, only 12th. They're not really, 11th marks do not count, only 12th. And in their board, it's a state board, CBSE board, whichever it is. And they take 5 subjects, best 5 out of whatever they write. Usually, for example, in Telangana state board or this thing, they have 6 subjects. You can take the 5 best subjects and you get 75% or more in those 5 subjects. Okay. And you can add lab marks. Lab marks can be added to those 5 subjects. So total cumulative is taken. Okay. Generally, people score better in lab, and that can be added. So overall, they need 75%. 75% is needed. Many people mistake that it's only needed for NITs, IIITs, and GFTAs. It's also needed for IITs. IITs also have the same rule, but they don't mention it along with these 3 institutions. They mention it again because they have to do JEE Advanced and that rule. This is JEE Mains and this rule. Okay. But they both need it. That's very important. Or they also have something called some states, which is, I think, slowly becoming irrelevant. But some states which are very, they don't give marks so easily, where 75% is not a norm, right? There they say, are you in the top 20 percentile in that board? Okay. That is the kind of thing that you have to get from board, etc. They kind of release those data, and every board, because JoSAA, and they know it's a standard process, they kind of release that. You can follow their respective board websites and stuff. You can get those information. But in general, 70% and above is what you can be safe about.
Okay. So how important is JoSAA counselling in shaping your career?
I think I see any counselling for that matter. In this case, JoSAA counselling. See, a lot of students who have the problem is only with those who have not the greatest of the ranks, decent middling ranks, right? Those students who usually mess out JoSAA. They mess up, they kind of miss out and mess up JoSAA. People who have great ranks, they have been preparing for it, they know the process, they're very clear what they want to go for. I want to go to IIT Kharagpur, I want to go to IIT Kanpur, this branch, that is very clear. But those who are not very clear about it, that's where they kind of miss out on it, thinking that they might not get anything and they give up. Please don't do that, because you might get into a private school, you might get into a school state level colleges and stuff like that. You are going to miss out heavily in your life, because by trying to get into a national institution like IITs, NITs and stuff, I think the kind of exposure, the kind of networking, the kind of faculty, the kind of structure, everything is very different, right? So I think the kind of respect, the kind of thing you get, everything will change. Definitely. So I would say JoSAA at this point of time is like that fruit that you got after 2 years of effort. So you better be as careful about that as possible. And they definitely should not miss out. And in fact, I'll tell you another interesting point. Many students, sometimes JoSAA kind of ask people who qualify, but if you did not really qualify in JoSAA, I mean in the JEE Mains, you can still apply in the later round, like I said, CSAB. Right? Yeah. Many students do not even have that idea, so they assume they only need to kind of do that. If you don't really apply for. You will not get it. See, the thing that you knock the door, only then, even luck will only come to those who open the door. Yes. So if you don't knock and open the door, it will not come. So JoSAA counselling, that way I would say, is one of the life-turning watershed kind of moment in students' lives.
So It's really, really very important, guys. I hope you got some idea on JoSAA counseling with this podcast. So, do you have any additional inputs that you want to share?
No, I just wanted to tell students that at their age, I think particularly in this year or so, I would want to tell that with AI getting so powerful as it is today and what is expected to happen in the next few years, I just wanted to say one thing to students and parents out there. Please do not get hung up on a branch. Uh, you can get in, for example, in fact, future what will happen is with AI becoming so strong, I think the value will come for the branches which are not so computer dependent. For example, a civil engineering, mechanical engineering, someone who can actually make something on the ground,
Mhm.
metallurgical engineering, materials engineering, a lot of those things will come into fashion again.
Mm.
So it does not make sense for you to kind of just jump to these kind of branches. I'll do a CS in some MSET college, I'll do a CS in some college. Please don't do that. That's not how things are done. You go to these good branches in top colleges and you can get into research and future is those kind of stuff. That's what I would want to tell as a last advice for the students who are watching this.
Yeah. So, that's it from our side, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Guys, I hope you learned something from this podcast. Thank you for watching the video.